Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies. Today we're honored to have Robert Kramer. Robert is the author of Nuts and Bolts, the Formula for Progressive Electoral Success. Welcome to Politics Done Right.
Nice to be here.
Great to be with you. First of all, I think it's important. When you say nuts and bolts, tell me what you mean by nuts and bolts of...
I mean that the most important thing to success electorally is execution.
Right.
You know, and when Vince Lombardi, used to have this wonderful football team
Right.
in Green Bay, the first of every season he would pick, these are great players, right? He'd pick up the ball
Right.
and say, gentlemen, this is a football. We're going to talk about blocking and tackling, and that's what the book is about. It argues that execution is the most important thing we have to do. And in this election, let me tell you, it's turning out our vote that is the most important thing.
We've been talking to people all over, and the question is, it seems like we have an apathetic voting bloc. And I think we're going to need the nuts and bolts to really get to them and show them the importance of why voting now is so important. So what can your book, Nuts and Bolts, the Formula for Progressive Electoral Success, what can you show them in that book that we are not doing right now?
Well, this book talks about the principles of great political communication.
Right.
And how we can engage people's self-interest.
Right.
We have to talk about their fundamental self-interest. And in terms of actual getting the vote out, it talks about a number of get out the vote messages that are very powerful. But the most important one is I won't get off your porch until you vote. Or off your phone. I mean, we need to be talking to people.
Right.
Not just texting them, although texting is important.
Right.
Not just we got to have real human relationships.
Flesh to flesh contact.
And building armies of volunteers, because the most important way to get people committed to something is to put them in motion.
Right.
If somebody cheers for a candidate, they're much more likely to be committed to them.
Right.
You spend an hour talking to them about why it's important.
Right.
If you put them in action, going door to door, or having events, or whatever, we have to organize in order to win. And if we do, we will.
I think that is one of the problems that a lot of today's politicians don't realize. They think they can throw up a Facebook ad or throw an ad on TV and everything is okay. And most of what they do, since that's all they're doing, what they want to do is demonize the other side in order for that person to look at the vote as their only option. Unfortunately, what that means is when the other side look at the other option, they may just say, you know what, might as well just stay home.
Yeah, right. And in this election,
right.
Of course, we have to be very clear that this is about, let's say, fundamentally pathfinding election for the country.
Right.
We're on the knife's edge of either trending toward fascism, or we could have the trifecta with the Senate, House, and President.
Yes.
Next year could be the most progressive period in modern American history.
That is what, it's amazing. When you say it, we are on a razor's edge. In other words, this election can flip in either direction. And the funny thing about it is, I think it should be flipping in a landslide fashion, given that, in my opinion, and you tell me what your thoughts are, I think the Republican Party, with the gravity of what they've done over the last several years, have just about donated the election to Democrats if they really want to follow the path.
That's right. If we get our vote out, you are correct. I mean, one of the key things that this book talks about is that it is much easier to mobilize people around things people are trying to take away from you,
right,
than around things to which you aspire. So that, for instance, Trump reached out from the political grave,
right,
and took women's freedom of reproductive choice away,
right,
and that is a huge issue in this coming election, and it will mobilize a lot of people. So we got to focus on this fundamental choice. It's not just about two candidates here.
Right.
Although
it's about two separate sets of policies.
It's not just policies even. freedom or authoritarianism. It's about,
Right.
This is really in my lifetime, this is the most fundamental election I recall, and I'm an old guy.
Well, you're not that old. You're not that old, but but still, it's important that we do it, and I'm glad that you spent the time to write a book, because we need your book, and we need the book of others that with different perspectives to come out and just say we are going to get the vote out. And we are going to make sure to have an educated populace.
And the other thing we have to convince people of, very important, is that we can win.
Right.
And we can win and make real change in a country. And we have to, because if you can't get them to hope, you can't get them to vote.
Say that again.
Can't get them to hope, you can't get them to vote.
There you go. I think that is so important. Let me ask you to give us a closer.
Well, I would just say, if we organize, we win.
I love that. If we organize, we win.
That's right.
If we organize, we win. Robert B. Kramer, author of Nuts and Bolts, the formula for progressive electoral success. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.